Hello, Barcelona family. Like and subscribe to the channel to know everything about Barcelona. In this video, we have 3 very important updates about our beloved club. Let's move on to the first one. Barcelona finds itself once again at the center of the European transfer market with a move that could shape the club's immediate future and reaffirm its historic commitment to young talents and the world-renowned youth academy. This time, the spotlight is on Argentina, where a name is resonating strongly in the halls of Camp Nou: Franco Mastantuono. At just 17 years old, this talented offensive midfielder from River Plate has already managed to capture the attention of the entire continent, not only for his favored left foot and vision of the game but also for a maturity unusual for his age. Faced with the media buzz generated by the interest from Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich, and the eternal rival Real Madrid, Barcelona has decided not to be left behind and to double down on its bet on the young prodigy. Information coming from Argentina, specifically from the prestigious sports outlet Olé, leaves no doubt. Franco Mastantuono's representatives favor Barcelona above all other options. And it's not without reason. The player and his entourage have evaluated not only the Catalan club's sports project but also its recent history with young talents, its playing philosophy, and, above all, the seriousness with which this new cycle is being managed under the direction of German coach Hansi Flick, who has already given his approval to proceed with the operation. Franco's transfer would not simply be another addition, it would be a statement of intent, a clear message to the football world. Barcelona is thinking big again, looking to the future with ambition, and prioritizing its identity over blank checks and empty promises made by some of its competitors in Europe. Because while some clubs focus on buying to accumulate, Barcelona recruits with a purpose, a plan, and an idea of football that has been forged over decades and continues to be a beacon for millions of supporters and players worldwide. Franco Mastantuono represents the type of footballer who perfectly fits the Blaugrana values: left-footed, talented, with a privileged understanding of the game, capable of playing between the lines, arriving in the box, and shooting accurately from mid-range. His style is reminiscent of the great offensive midfielders who have shown at Camp Nou. But beyond comparisons, what really excites the Barcelona sporting management is his mentality. At his young age, he already demonstrates leadership, a competitive character, and tactical intelligence that few possess in his category. He is a player for the present, but above all, for the future. The interest from giants like Chelsea or PSG is not surprising. These are clubs accustomed to moving aggressively in the market, capable of putting million-dollar offers on the table without blinking. Bayern Munich, for its part, is watching closely from Germany, while Real Madrid, true to form, tries to insert itself into foreign operations without a clear structure for the development of young talents. Because let's be honest, how many promises has the White Club bought in recent years that have ended up loaned, forgotten, or relegated to the bench behind established names that leave no room for newcomers? Franco Mastantuono's case cannot be just another on this list. Barcelona, on the other hand, offers something different: a real project, a culture of sports development based on trust and time. It's not about recruiting for the sake of recruiting, but about building a trajectory at Camp Nou. Franco would have space, training, support, and, above all, a footballing idea that enhances his profile. Hansi Flick has been very clear about this. He wants players who understand the game, who adapt to a collective system, and who are capable of growing progressively within the team's structure. Mastantuono fits perfectly. Moreover, the response from Argentina has been positive, not only from the player's entourage but also from River supporters, who view favorably that their jewel will continue his career at a club like Barcelona. The player's release clause is around €45 million, a considerable sum for a footballer of his age, but also a sensible investment considering the potential and projection attributed to him in an inflated market where astronomical sums are paid for promises without a track record. Franco's transfer could become one of the smartest operations of the summer. Meanwhile, in Madrid, a certain nervousness is perceived. This is not the first time that Barcelona has beaten its eternal rival in the race for a South American gem, and this time, the situation seems to be repeating itself. The difference lies in the approach to the transfer. While the White Club bets on playing time that it does not subsequently deliver, Barcelona offers a reality, a path, training, an identity, and this, in the case of a player like Mastantuono, is decisive. The operation is not yet closed, but the optimism in the city of Dal is total. The conversations are advancing, the player's entourage is receptive, and the footballer's willingness is clear. If nothing goes wrong, the Argentine will end up wearing the Barcelona shirt. And when that happens, it will not only be celebrated for what it represents as a transfer but also for what it symbolizes as a message to the football world. Barcelona is back, it is building something great, it is shaping the future from the ground up. Amidst the excitement, the Barcelona supporters have more than enough reasons to be enthusiastic. The arrival of a talent like Mastantuono not only strengthens the team in the long term but also rejuvenates the soul of the team at a time when many opt for shortcuts or immediate solutions. Barcelona is once again betting on talent, planning, and football as art. It is undoubtedly an ambitious bet, but also one that is consistent with the essence of the club. And now, the question that lingers in the air is inevitable. What do you think, Barcelona fans? Isn't this the kind of transfer that represents who we are? Isn't this what we have been demanding for a long time? A young, promising, talented, and ambitious player, ready to grow in our home, to fight for our badge, to write his story at Camp Nou? Because it's not just about winning, but how we win. And on this path, transfers like Mastantuono's are not just important, they are indispensable. So, Barcelona brothers and sisters, get your scarves ready, because if all goes well, we will soon see Franco Mastantuono wearing our colors. And when that happens, the world will know once again that Barcelona does not give up, that Barcelona fights, that Barcelona, despite all adversities, remains the club where dreams become reality. Visca el Barça and Visca Catalunya. The second piece of news concerns another important decision within the club. Amid a particularly hectic transfer window, Barcelona has taken a firm, determined stance that is consistent with the new direction they wish to pursue with Hansi Flick, protecting their best players and not being swayed by easy money. This attitude has been particularly evident in the case of Jules Koundé. The French defender has attracted interest from several top European clubs, but his continuity has become a matter of principle for the Blaugrana sports management. In an increasingly astronomical figures-driven market and desperate moves, Barcelona has said a resounding no. No to the €75 million that Arsenal put on the table, no to disrupting the structure of a project that is just beginning to take shape with Flick at the helm, and no to giving up the talent, solidity, and commitment of a footballer who, far from wanting to leave, has expressed his desire to continue being an important part of the team. News of Arsenal's interest did not take long to filter through European football circles. Mikel Arteta, who is well aware of his team's defensive needs and particularly appreciates players with good ball-playing abilities, tactical intelligence, and adaptability to different systems, has set his sights on Koundé as a priority target to strengthen his defensive line. His proposal was clear: €75 million in cash, with no conditions or loans, a considerable sum, especially at a time when the finances of many clubs continue to suffer the aftermath of years of instability. However, Barcelona's response was swift and categorical: Jules Koundé is not for sale. This response was neither accidental nor improvised. It comes with strategic planning and absolute support from the new coach, Hansi Flick, who, since his arrival on the Blaugrana bench, has made it clear that he intends to build his team from defensive solidity. For this, he needs profiles like that of the French defender: fast, strong, with game-reading ability, anticipation skills, and, of course, the competitive character required to wear the Barcelona shirt. Koundé embodies all this and more. He is a modern, disciplined player who never considers a ball lost and who can intelligently adapt to the different tactical demands of the team. Flick knows this, appreciates it, and has communicated it directly to the management. Koundé is not to be touched. The German coach's position has had an immediate echo in the offices of Camp Nou. Joan Laporta and Deco understand that one of the keys to success for the immediate future is to stop being a club that sells its best footballers every summer to balance the books. The priority now is to maintain a strong and committed core that understands what it means to play for Barcelona and is ready to grow with the project. Koundé fits perfectly into this vision. His performance last season was remarkable, but what impresses the technical staff the most is his ability to take on a leadership role in difficult times, to lift the team when things are not going well, and to respond with maturity to the challenges posed by each match. Added to this is a factor that cannot be ignored: the player's willingness. Jules Koundé has at no point shown any intention of leaving. On the contrary, he has felt comfortable, supported, and valued. He has understood his role, worked silently, and been present every time he was needed. Even when the first news of Arsenal's interest arrived, his response was as professional as it was clear. He is focused on Barcelona and wants to continue being part of the project. There has been no flirting with other clubs, no ambiguous statements, and no behind-the-back moves. This attitude, in an increasingly commercialized football world, is a differentiating value that Barcelona knows how to recognize and reward. Of course, in London, they are not considering themselves defeated. From Arsenal's camp, it is being leaked that Arteta continues to push for the management to increase the offer. There is already talk of a new possible proposal that could reach 85 or even 90 million euros. However, the feeling at Camp Nou is that even if the offer increases, the response will remain the same. Because it's not just about money, but about a plan, a conviction, and a firm bet to consolidate a team that is regaining its competitiveness on all fronts. And this involves not touching key players like Koundé. In this context, the Barcelona supporters have reacted with satisfaction. Many, after years of seeing the club succumb to the temptations of the market by selling important players, are celebrating this change of mentality on social media, opinion forums, and conversations among supporters. The general feeling is one of relief and pride. Finally, there is a sense that Barcelona is starting to think like a big club again, one that protects what it has and does not sell for the sake of selling. Finally, a coherent structure is beginning to be perceived with decisions that look beyond the immediate balance sheet. Furthermore, it is important to emphasize that Koundé's continuity not only has sporting value but also symbolic value. It is a message intended for the dressing room, future transfers, supporters, and the rest of Europe. In the current Barcelona, talent is cherished. It is no longer about rebuilding from the ashes but about building on solid foundations. Jules Koundé is one of those foundations, and that is why he is not for sale. From the club's point of view, keeping him means betting on a sustainable model in which quality, commitment, and planning are prioritized over short-term economic interest. In this sense, the aborted operation with Arsenal is a victory for sports management, the coach's vision, and also for the supporters who have regained faith in the fact that decisions are made with both head and heart. Koundé is also experiencing a moment of footballing maturity that makes him one of the most complete defenders in the European landscape. His ability to lead the defense, organize from the back, incorporate himself judiciously into the attack, and offer alternatives in both aerial play and one-on-one situations makes him a precious asset. Everyone would want him on their team, but Barcelona has him, values him, and now also retains him. In the coming days, rumors will undoubtedly continue. It is likely that other clubs will show interest in the Frenchman, that record offers will be discussed, and that headlines will attempt to generate media pressure. And now, dear Barcelona supporters, I ask you, what do you think of this firm stance from the club? Do you believe that retaining Koundé is an ambitious decision? Isn't this what we have been asking for years? A Barcelona that defends what is theirs, that does not buckle under million-dollar offers, that builds from within? Because if one thing is clear in this story, it is that when you work with coherence, when the management, the coach, and the players have a shared vision, the result can only be positive. The third piece of news concerns a major twist that needs to be confirmed at Barcelona. Hugo Ekitike has made a remarkable entrance onto the European football scene, becoming one of the most sought-after names in the market thanks to his spectacular performances at Eintracht Frankfurt. At 22 years old, the French striker has had an exceptional season, with figures that confirm his emergence as one of the most promising center-forwards on the continent. 22 goals and 12 assists in all competitions. His ability to dribble, his intelligence in moving between the lines, and his goal-scoring instinct have made him the center of all attention. And, as expected, Barcelona, which continues to look to the future with renewed ambition, has decided to take action. Not only has the club shown interest in the player, but it is already studying concrete formulas to make Ekitike one of the standard-bearers of the new project led by Hansi Flick. The sports management of Barcelona, under the supervision of the new coach, has taken a step forward and is working intensely to make an operation viable that, at first glance, seems complex due to the high cost demanded by the German club, 100 million euros. However, Barcelona has repeatedly shown that it can be creative and bold in the market, and this time will be no exception. To facilitate the transfer of the young Frenchman, the Blaugrana club is prepared to include players in the operation, allowing for an exchange that would significantly reduce the final amount. In this sense, the possibility of including 2 footballers who are not part of future plans is being considered. These players could well adapt to the context of the Bundesliga, and their performance at Frankfurt would be an opportunity for both parties. In this way, Barcelona shows that it is not just about accumulating talent, but about building a smart, sustainable, and, above all, exciting project. The bet on Ekitike is not the result of a passing trend or an impulsive reaction, but a strategic decision, rigorously analyzed and supported by the new technical staff. Hansi Flick has given his approval to the operation, convinced that the Frenchman perfectly fits the playing style he wants to implement. In the profile of the young striker, he finds an ideal mix of explosiveness, technical maturity, and competitive hunger. Ekitike can not only bring goals but also an offensive dynamism that will allow the team to become dominant, vertical, and effective in the final third again. His transfer would represent a statement of authority and an unequivocal signal that Barcelona wants to return to the top with a recognizable style and new weapons. In the corridors of Camp Nou, there is optimism. The operation will not be simple, but it is feasible if the right pieces are put in place. The predisposition of Eintracht to listen to offers including exchanges gives room for maneuver, and from the player's entourage, it has already been leaked that he would view joining Barcelona very favorably. For a young, ambitious talent like him, being part of a rebuilding project, led by a coach like Flick and in an environment of maximum demand, represents a natural step in his evolution. Barcelona represents not only a sporting challenge but also an opportunity to leave a mark on football history. Furthermore, one cannot ignore the club's context after years marked by economic instability and erroneous sporting decisions. Barcelona has found a turning point in the change on the bench and the reconfiguration of its management structure. Now, more than ever, the club needs strategic successes that combine talent and immediate performance. Hugo Ekitike fits into this logic. He is young, has room for improvement, but also has a proven ability to make a difference from day one. This is the type of player who, if given trust and continuity, can definitively explode in a favorable environment. Barcelona wants to be that environment. In the Bundesliga, he has established himself as a lethal striker. His ability to unbalance with speed, his one-on-one play, and his sense of space have amazed coaches, analysts, and fans alike. He is not a classic goalscorer but a modern striker, capable of linking up, moving intelligently between the lines, and creating play. This versatility is precisely what Barcelona is looking for to build a multifaceted attack. A player like Ekitike allows for many variations. He can act as a lone striker, accompanied, or even start from wider areas and surprise from behind. His arrival would greatly expand the team's tactical range. The time to act is now. The competition in the market will be fierce, and there is no time to lose. Several Premier League clubs have shown interest in Ekitike, aware that he is a gem with a present and a future. But Barcelona has a differential advantage that few can offer: a unique footballing identity, an unparalleled history, and an ideal environment to shine, if one is ready to work. It's not just about money but vision. And if one thing is clear, it is that the new sports management is ready to bet on those who can truly make a difference. The Blaugrana environment is already getting excited about the idea of seeing Ekitike wearing the Barcelona shirt. It would not only be a promising addition but also a clear message to the rest of the continent. The club does not just want to compete, it wants to become dominant again. Hansi Flick arrived with a defined roadmap, and transfers like this would be the first big step to execute his plan. Barcelona is not here to experiment, it is here to win. But for that, it needs new blood, authentic talent, and players who arrive with ambition. Ekitike represents that and more. From the management, there is calm but also determination. Preliminary conversations with Eintracht have already begun, and although there is not yet a formal offer, there is a clear conviction that the player fits the sporting and financial parameters being managed. Including players in the operation is a strategic move that can unlock the negotiation. For the Blaugrana supporters, this possible transfer represents a breath of fresh air after years of frustrations and unfulfilled promises. Seeing the club move again with agility and intelligence in the market is a reason for hope. Ekitike is not an empty bet. He is an emerging reality, and bringing him in now, before his value soars even higher, could be a masterstroke. Barcelona cannot afford to continue seeing the talents of the future end up in the hands of rivals. This time, it must act with determination and strike hard. The impact of a transfer like this would go beyond the playing field. Symbolically, it would strengthen the message that Barcelona is back, that it is not content with just competing, but wants to dominate, and is ready to rebuild on solid foundations and smart decisions. Ekitike can be one of those foundations.